Hey everybody, today is Wednesday, July 27th, 2022. I'm Gene, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Hanging with Uncle. Before we get started, please hit that subscribe button if you have not yet, and also hit the thumbs up, that like button, and if you want to get notified when we put new content out there, please ring that bell. So without further ado, let's get into the topic of discussion today. And I want to talk about Merrick Garland and the DOJ, and not so much of what they're doing. You can turn on any news station and hear that. But one thing that I haven't heard is the possible angle of which that Merrick Garland is going with the Justice Department and the investigation into the Taryn Tanger and his plot to overthrow the government on January 6th of last year. So, first of all, let's, establish what's going on. That we know that the Justice Department has paneled a grand jury. We know that because we know who the grand jury has called to give testimony. Now, remember, the role of the grand jury is to determine if there is enough evidence to charge someone and bring them to justice, bring them to court. Okay? So, for those that don't know, there are two ways in which you can bring somebody to court on criminal charges. The first is you have a preliminary hearing where you go before the judge. The defendant is there. The defendant gets to hear the evidence against them, and a judge decides if there's probable cause for this particular case to go to trial, where there's an actual trial where crimes are decided by a jury. The second way for a trial or a case to go to trial by a jury is through a grand jury. Now, in a grand jury, the defendant nor defense counsel are present. The grand jury hears the evidence, and then the grand jury makes a determination on whether to indict, which is the same thing as determining that there's probable cause to go to trial. So we know that the grand jury has interviewed Mark Short, who is Mike Pence's former chief of staff, and Greg Jacob, who was the counsel to the vice president. And from my investigative brain, it tells me that the Department of Justice is focusing on this fake elector scheme, on the fraudulent attempt to send illegal electors to certify the votes in the states where the Electoral College voters are certified. So we know that the pressure was on Mike Pence to send the certifications back to the states where these state legislatures were run by Republicans, where they would be happy to do the bidding of the Tangerine Terror and invalidate the will of the voters, the people of this country, you and me. They were happy to do that. We already know that Senator Ron Johnson in his office reached out to Mike Pence's team, trying to hand him the state of fake electors from Wisconsin and Michigan, I believe. So, notwithstanding that, we know that the fake electors are at the top of the DOJ. Since the DOJ is operating very clandestinely, in secret, it leads me to believe that sitting members of Congress like Ron Johnson are in a lot of trouble, because there's a big push to execute the 14th Amendment to prohibit certain members from ever running for office and holding a position of public trust after they've committed seditious conspiracy to overthrow the will of the people. And it would be too easy to find out what criminal activity those sitting members of Congress were in, those that asked to be on the pardon list. You can check phone records, emails, text messages to see who these people of public trust were communicating with and what their efforts were to decertify a free and fair election. So if I'm the Justice Department, I'm the investigator, that's the angle I'm going. We already know that Fani Willis is going ahead with the state prosecution of the Tangerine Terror and his efforts to overthrow the will of the people in Georgia. And I believe those cases are going to run separately of one another. So he cannot escape jail time in the state or the federal level, any of these people. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to say that they are taking very seriously defrauding the will of the people and tampering with an election, whatever term you want to put on it. The Tangerine Terror and the people in his circle that were engaged in this activity to send fake electors to certify a win for the Tangerine Terror after he lost is evidence of voting crimes. So we'll leave it there. We'll see where the DOJ progresses. And Zane and I will look forward to seeing you on Friday. Stay safe out there, everybody. Good night.